take this pill, you take that pill, now you lower your amount of cholesterol to offset the side effects of the statin drug and the low-fat diet that you're now on. Okay, that's one. Did you know serotonin, the hormone in every male and female's body, needs cholesterol to be made? Right. So now you can't make serotonin. Serotonin is your happy, feel-good hormone. Now you can't make it because you don't have cholesterol to make enough of it. When are you going to report to your medical doctor within 6 months to a year after starting?
No.
Are you aware that the government subsidizes every person that goes on the machine, even if it's paid for by an insurance company?
Mm-hmm.
The government subsidizes. And the reason why the doctors find this so lucrative is, see, 30 years ago maybe, doctors used to own pharmacies. Doctors used to own the pharmacy that was downstairs from their office. Well, they came with a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And so doctors can no longer own pharmacies. And that's probably 30, 35 years old. They can no longer own pharmacies. However, they can own stock in pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
And many pharmaceutical companies give 25,000, 30,000 shares of stocks to a doctor so he can write prescriptions. Well, that was fairly lucrative, but it's nothing like the dialysis machine, because the dialysis center they can own outright.
Yes, and they do.
The place that I was talking about, the guy that owned it, that built it from the ground, he is an East Indian doctor.
Yeah, most of them are.
He's an East Indian doctor. And if you go in to him, and we've made it our business to go in with 10 different things, 10 different illnesses. And every one of us was told we needed to go on the dialysis machine.
You see that?
And immediately, that your kidneys are not functioning, even though he never even took a test. Never
That's
took a
what
test.
happens a lot. When right before I left, that's why I left. It was because all of the patients were becoming older, senior citizens, because they needed to fill up those chairs. I mean, if you don't fill up the chairs, then you have to close the unit, you know. So all the patients were coming in, senior citizens.
Is your hospital, your kitchen. Have you ever heard that before? Some of you are Muslims are, but I want my Christian sisters to remember grandma, great-grandma. They didn't go to no college like you and I. We went to college and got stupider. They didn't go nowhere, but they were in a garden. They studied the nature of what was around them. And when we got sick, there was no hospital. They went in the field and picked something up and came in and made a tea for us, and we got well. We've lost that power.
It was proved at the turn of the century that the human body is almost 80%, 90% water, and it's also got electrolytes in it, which we know to be salt, potassium, different minerals. That means we're a salt battery. No different than the car battery, different than something like that. And there's a patent actually called the Cali patent, which I'll hold up here for the camera to see. And this patent actually was developed in 1897, and not much has been done with it, because at that time everyone was afraid of electricity. In this case, Dr. Clark developed a product using a 9-volt battery. And I'll just show you in the back here. There it is, 9-volt battery. And this particular unit, you just snap on your wrist with 2 wristbands.
We only have a minute. Yeah.
You snap it on your wrist just to prove that I'm a circuit. I push the little green light, and the thing is on. And if I put my hands together, you can hear that I'm a circuit, and I'm a closed circuit at this point. Now with
Why
that,
do we get a sound when you put your hands together?
because I've closed the circuit. Now when I take my hands apart, obviously the electricity is now being able to flow through the body. The electricity can't go through the digestive tract, so in the digestive tract, to kill the microorganisms, the specific parasites, she's found the effectiveness of the black walnut, which the native Indians used for cleansing many years ago. The black walnut, in its green hull form, kills many of the microorganisms, and in conjunction with another product called wormwood and cloves, typical cloves that you would get at the store, these three in combination have the ability to go in and kill all the pathogens.
As you awaken, dormant DNA is activated and your awareness increases. This is why you're resonating with different fabrics, because each fiber has its own frequency. Organic cotton has a signature frequency of 110 megahertz. A synthetic blend like polyester measures around 10 megahertz, around the same as a diseased person. Wearing polyester underwear has also been linked to low fertility. Then ask yourself why certain trends are pushed on us. But I digress. Wool has an extremely high frequency at 5,000 megahertz. Linen also has a high frequency at 5,000 megahertz. Interesting enough, if they're woven together with wool, they cancel each other out and it falls to zero. In Deuteronomy 22:11, it also says, do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven together. Dr. Philip Callahan was able to prove the existence of this energy using plant leaves attached to an oscilloscope. He discovered that flax cloth, as suggested in the books of Moses, acts as an antenna for this energy. He found that when pure flax cloth was put over a wound or local pain, it greatly accelerated the healing process. Flax was cultivated in Egypt, then created into linen, and it was worn constantly by men of rank and exclusively by the priest. Wrappings for the mummies were all
Cancers and tumors are good for you when the body has a bunch of toxins in them. Yes, it is. Now,
how long should these cancer and tumors last?
Until you eradicate all the toxins out of the body. We get rid of tumors all the time. I'm here. I mean, they know this. I'm here all the time. We get rid of tumors all the time, and the body gets rid of cancer all the time. I'm not a healer. I just help facilitate the healing. The body is a healer. I'll be ingenuous. I'll be disingenuous, and I will be on a high horse to say that I heal the body of anything. No, you have the power. Your body heals itself, and you can do this without buying herbs from me. That's how. It's not about the money. I'm a millionaire. It's not about the money. It's showing you who you are and the capabilities that the Creator gave you. A tumor. So, for instance, if you're constantly eating foods that you're not supposed to be eating, whenever you eat these foods get broken down and get delivered to the cell. When the foods get broken down and get delivered to the cells eat these foods on a micro level. Well, just like you have to defecate and go to the toilet, your cells defecate. They just don't have legs and they're floating on an interstitial fluid called lymphatic fluid, so they poop on top of them cells. Well, what's supposed to happen is the lymphatic fluid goes through the body and it picks up all of the metabolic waste from the cells and take it to lymph nodes. When it goes to the lymph nodes, you have macrophages and bacteria that breaks this food down. When you break this food down, these foods turn into acid. So they got to go through these lymph vessels, go to the kidneys, and then you urine it out through something called urea. That's what your metabolic waste break down. If you eat 3 meals a day, that is gluttony. 3 meals a day is just absurd, y'all. 3 meals a day is the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. And we used to follow these things, y'all. We used to follow these meal plans. 3 meals a day, and you only having how many bowel movements? Where do you think this stuff is going? It's not just staying in your gut. It is leaping. It's seeking into your bloodstream. It's seeking into your lymphatic system. It is seeking into your connective tissues. It is literally messing with the exchange of nutrients and oxygen and carbon dioxide and phytonutrients to the cells. Most of this stuff is stopping sun penetration. You know, sunlight needs to penetrate the tissues, go beyond the tissues with near infrared light, and then penetrate inside the cells. And this is what helps actually fold your amino acids. You can't even get that with certain meat consumption because you got flesh on top of unnatural flesh on top of unnatural flesh. Well, you are not made to eat meat.
So as it turns out, Nike is the most valuable clothing brand in America. But is there a secret that would put them out of business if everyone knew it? Probably. Wait until you see this. Now, the other brands that would be completely decimated as well include Gucci, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, Cartier, Zara, H&M, etc. And it's my opinion that they are all on borrowed time. Here's why. A woman named Heidi Yellen did a study about the frequency of different fabrics. According to this machine, the human body has a frequency of 70 to 100 millihertz. In people with illness, that drops to below 50 millihertz. Now, Heidi's premise was that any fabric that has a higher frequency than that of humans is beneficial to humans. It raises your frequency, and any fabric with a lower frequency can cause, she believed, illnesses or disease. Now, someone who is nearly dead and very sick has a frequency of around 15 millihertz. So, how's Nike doing? What kind of fabrics do they have? Well, they use dry fit, which is a polyester microfiber, plastic. Well, the frequency of polyester is 10 megahertz, similar to a sick or dying person. When people find out that wool and linen both have a frequency of 5,000 megahertz, they might not want to buy overpriced Chinese plastic polyester clothing anymore. Not to mention the microplastics that come off of wearing polyester clothing, which unfortunately affect your hormones negatively. However, don't wear wool and linen together as they cancel each other out. That's what this machine studied, and interestingly, it also says this in the Bible: you shall not wear a garment of different sorts such as wool and linen mixed together. Interesting prophecy.